allegiance, I believe.
I
Maureen,
pledge
you're
allegiance
here.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'll open the agenda work of the Budget Committee at 6:03. And this is not a regular Budget Committee meeting. It is a special Budget Committee meeting. When we met last time, Stan had an excellent question about the cost of the teacher contract as it affects this year and next year for where the money cuts in and what the state reimbursement rates are. Consequently, the school board went back and reworked that warrant to bring to our attention tonight as a complete new figure voted warrant. So that is the reason we're meeting at 6 o'clock so we ourselves can vote on that and then have the public hearing at 6:30. Some moving slightly out of order, some housekeeping details. Thursday night, our regular selectmen's rep, Mike Bolio, has other commitments, and so he is excused. The other thing to mention is, you may remember a couple of weeks ago, we voted Caitlin off the Budget Committee because she had not been in attendance. That was different than my knowledge of her situation. Her husband has taken a new job in Pennsylvania that I was aware of, and I wanted to make sure that the confidentiality of that decision, which was pending, did not come up before they had decided what they were doing. So she actually had a conversation with me. I knew what was coming, and she was not inattentive to her duties. She just did not want to do work that she could not follow up on. So that clears that deck. Now, we do not have a town report, so that will be passed by. My plan when the public hearing starts is to read off the operating budget, read off the default budget, then read off each one of the warrant articles, and then ask for input from the public if they have any questions or want more explanation. That having been said, we now have 25 minutes because I was not clever enough to call this meeting for 6:15 rather than 6 o'clock. So we are basically in what I would call a directed free-form discussion, or we can recess until 6:30. If the school board, business officer, superintendent, or chair and board members would like to discuss the school district reports that we do have, as for example, for the grant overview for fiscal year 2017, the monthly revenue report and monthly expense report, you are free to do that. If you want to review one more time any of the details from last night's meeting of the school board, you can also do that. So what is the pleasure of the group? Stan?
First of all, we need to vote on the why we started early tonight, and that is
Right.
the contract
Yes.
with teachers. So
Yeah.
we need to do that prior to 6:30.
Right,
All right.
we're going to be doing
And we
that.
might as well button up our minutes, get that done.
Okay,
I mean, and if there's any time left, then we can,
good.
you know.
Okay, thank you. You stepped right into my plan of action. So for the would the chair of the school board, for the record, just go over the warrant article and discuss it briefly, how they voted on it. You know,
You're talking about 3 then?
I mean, what is your number?
Yeah.
We
Article
did
2
the
is all we
others
have left.
The,
We have that in front of us.
Where's your number?
Article 2.
on the other page.
Ah, that's why I can't find it. Yeah, which is, at the meeting last night, the Article 2 was part of their discussion, and that's why we're here early. Shall the Milton School District vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Milton School Board and the Milton Education Association, which calls for the following increase in salaries and benefits at the current staffing levels over the amount paid in the prior fiscal year. And further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $66,184.94 for the 2017-2018 school year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits over those of the appropriation at current staffing levels paid in the prior fiscal school year. The school board, in their vote last night, recommended the appropriation 5-0. So to get our own discussion going, may I have a motion to recommend the appropriation as presented under Article 2 by the school board?
I'll make the motion to recommend.
Second.
Moved by Lou, seconded by Maureen. Discussion is open, and that discussion can extend to the school board itself for comment on it. From the board itself, Dennis, Stan?
What, discussion?
Yeah. Or Maureen, Tom?
Obviously, we're just voting on a monetary value. We just got to agree to what they say is agreed contract, so it's been reduced from the last time we spoke considerably, approximately what?
100,000.
98,000.
Well, close enough.
Good stuff. Then, and Lou?
I want to say that Peg and Doug have worked extremely hard. I worked a little on it, but they really are the major things. And everybody, Earl and Nate, really worked hard on this, even up to the last minute. This is a good contract. I mean, here I go being the tightwad again, but this is really a good contract that these two have really worked hard on with the teachers. It was a lot of give and take. You got the sheets on the savings that they came up with, and they really have done an amazing job. And I know that I'm pretty proud of what these people have done. I mean, every single one of them. Paul has been a big help with everything also. And this new board has really worked hard, and I want everybody to know how hard they have really worked. And it's amazing. And I hope that people will vote for this teacher's contract, because this is the best contract I've seen in many years for the teachers. So that's what I have to say. But every one of you should be proud of what you've been doing. It's just amazing to be a part of it.
Okay, any other discussion on that article prior to, or bringing it up again when we go through the public hearing? Then, Stan?
No, I just think they'll need to hit on the points they haven't read in here, just so it's understood that when people hear about a contract, they don't really realize there's a give and take to it. And I think we're seeing the increase monetarily, but people need to see what the give on the teacher's part was to, the give and take again. So I think that's important to be documented.
So
Okay.
do you want to reiterate them?
Tom?
When I go through your back up the page with the red,
Total request was 66,184, but then total increase for teachers is 67,353. Is the total request there, is that talking about year 17, 18, and total increase covering 17, 18, 18, 19? I'm just curious where the numbers came from, because, I just want to make sure I understand.
Okay, well, if you take the, I'm trying to think what I did with my figures. If you take the total request, subtract the 11,500, the 5,000, and the 215, and then add $18,028, which is the savings in life insurance, our insurance, health insurance.
Yeah.
Then that comes out to the 67. So the savings outweigh the actual cost. Does that make sense?
I don't know that it's got any play on how I'm gonna, recommend or not recommend. I just don't understand the number. When I look at this, it's not obvious to me.
Yeah, but the savings at the $18,028,
Yeah.
that actually reduces the amount that we're, how do I say this? If you take the retirement, the FICA, and the disability, add that all up, or subtract that, I should say, from the 66, and then add back in the 18,000, which is the savings, and that's when you come up with the 67,353.
Actually, I know what you're referring to, because in my office, when Peg and I reviewed it, I saw whereas that last line. You're looking at what is requested, and then the last line of it goes to a decrease. So I think that it's more clearly when Stan said take and give or give and take there. I think the last part where it says what they did concede upon, I think that includes where it has the 18. So what this is, what the worksheet, the beginning worksheet was trying to show where that final amount was. Because remember last time, if the community remembers, it was a lot more. Like Stan had said at the beginning, it was 100,000 more. So we didn't go into it, but there was a lot of aspects of it that went. And one of the things was the $33,000. If you look at the teacher concessions made, the 8,928, the 9,100, the 16,000. So in terms of what the total package is, and I don't want to confuse you more, it's 99,000, but 33,000 of it is give back. So like Stan was saying, we're here with the teacher concessions made, and we were looking at this, and probably something red should be shown in very bold print. Take maybe that 18,000 out where it says that, Tom, and just be clear at the bottom, have it all in red. Teacher concessions, $33,000. So I think the two main things, and you folks were helpful in pointing this out, the retirement part of it, the FICA and the disability and so forth, is Peg did a tremendous job of showing it's 25, and I think it should stop there, perhaps. The total uncontrollable cost is 25, is 1/4, 25%. And then save that 18,000 for down below, so you have all the concessions in one place. Am I making sense?
Yes, I think that would make it a little more clear.
So this, if I hold it up to the camera, you will not be able to read it. This is a document that with Tom's input, showing what Stan said earlier, the back and forth, the give and take on it, will show where that 33,000 in the give back comes in, and what the impact is of the retirement and FICA, and also, we may go back to that again when we go through the public hearing part of it, what the impact of the state's trickle-down economics has been, that the state share of retirement continues to go down, period, end of sentence. Okay, Tom, continue.
I just want to make sure that so, and we're talking just about 17, 18 in this bit, which that was 66 and some change. So basically, if you add those numbers up, you come up with about 16,000. So, am I right in thinking that take 16 from 66? That's roughly 50,000. That's applied to salaries, salary increase. Is that? Okay. So I guess the worksheet's confusing me.
Okay, sorry.
Then,
I will pretend I didn't see the worksheet.
do I remember correctly? Do I remember correctly that you also did some breakouts in terms of where district salaries stand compared
Yes.
to other districts, and what average salaries are, and I think you even worked it down into an average. But we'll leave that additional discussion when we go back and hit this again on the public hearing. Then for the work of the Budget Committee itself, on the motion from Lou to recommend Article 2, the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement, I will do it would you like it from my left or from my right?
Can I just have one more
Yes,
thing stated
yes,
for the
Dan.
record? That per their breakdown, this teacher's contract represents a 19 cents per thousand increase, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Just for the record, this agreement, we're talking quite a few tens of thousands of dollars here, but for simple math, that represents 19 cents per thousand to the taxpayer.
Okay. Yeah, and that is, we'll again get back to that. I'm sorry, Lou.
Doug.
Oh, yes,
I
Doug.
just want to state the same thing that Lou said. This is a good contract. I think it's fair for both sides. I hope took us a while to get here, but we worked hard, and it's a good one.
Okay, then, we can do just a vote by total. From my left, Maureen,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Lou,
Yes.
Stan,
Yes.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Chair votes yes. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to 0 to recommend Article 2. Okay, that is the quote technical work for the Budget Committee meeting prior to the hearing. We also have, thanks to Brenda's work, the Budget Committee special meeting minutes from Tuesday, January 3rd. And if these minutes will be going online as when they are approved, and if you go through these, you will find more discussion on the articles of the school district presentation. So that brings us to
I'll make a
the,
motion to accept the minutes with any changes.
with any correction or additions
Second.
necessary. Seconded by Maureen. That said, are there corrections, additions, amendments, or changes that the committee has found?
Who am I? I'm taking it.
Okay. And we, a small joke, we no longer have to worry about how to spell Wix, which is the wonderful fuel contract that the town has, which has been a great saving for the town. So that's taken care of. Then if there are no other comments or corrections, all in favor of approving the minutes of January 3rd? Aye.
Aye.
Against? Yay?
Yes, abstain.
Abstain? Yep. And the chair votes to approve, so that would be 6 approved, 1 abstention on the minutes of January 3rd. That gives us 7 minutes before the formal hearing. Is there any general discussion that the school board would like to have, which would be useful, apart from the details of the warrants, or any topics that the committee itself wants to bring up? Okay.
Well, okay, Mr. Chairman, the only
Bob
thing is,
Carrier.
on these grants, I know I was gonna try and get together with you to understand what these grants are and who is on these grants, so I can figure out what's in the budget and what's not in the budget. I just didn't know when would be a good time to do that, because looking at these numbers, I got a lot of questions in there, and before I go into them, the thing is, it's probably should be waiting until after the deliberative session to see you, because
Sure.
you're still doing both Wakefield and,
Yes.
yeah. This is not a good time as any, because,
I think we could find,
I
I
think-
think we could fit it.
I think off the top of my head, maybe later in the week, next week,
okay, because
we could do it.
there's a lot in here that, and there's some dates that look like they expired, but they're still here.
Yeah.
Or there's amendments in there that I don't
Yep.
understand them. Why are they there? It looks like they zeroed them out, so I just want to get into it more deeply with them.
Absolutely.
Also too, that's great that you do, but also you should be aware a grants committee was just founded, as you know, from
Yeah.
being at the school board meeting. And you're more than welcome to be a part of it, or you're more than welcome to join in, depending on what your time is like, correct? We're gonna begin to.
Thursday at 10 a.m.
Ne-
at the SAU still?
Yes.
Next Thursday, all right,
Mhm.
take it. Okay.
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
In fact, if you come during that time period, we'll go over it before or afterwards too.
All right, I mean,
Yeah, It is a 12-cup coffee pot, yes?
Okay.
No, it's Cumbie Farms. You have to go to Cumbie Farms, get your own
So,
coffee.
you know, so just feel free, because,
yeah.
you know, it's great when somebody cares and has some interest. We want to get them on board with it as soon as we
Yeah.
can. So does that fit for you?
Yes, that'll fit very good, because there's a lot of stuff in here, and I just don't know where they're going.
Yeah,
I
there's-
don't blame you.
Then,
Yeah.
for the record, Bob Carrier has had an excellent eye for following detailed changes in the budgets. We have the cooperative interest of the school district for having him join as member or be liaison from the budget committee. What is your call?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
can do both.
And okay, there's, the reason I say that is there is a tension in TENSION in how the RSAs define the rights of the budget committee to request information and whether or not it's at the initiative of an individual member of the budget committee or at the will of the budget committee. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that that was a cooperative venture with the agreement of the budget committee and the school board both. You're on for next Thursday.
Okay, what I want to do is I want to get something here and maybe bring it back in writing to the committee, so they can see what it is, what we're looking at, and who is in here that belongs, because sometimes I see the other book where there's 50% grant, but I just don't know where to put the name there, so, and I want to
Yeah.
look at how much, what is budgeted for, and see the difference here.
Yeah, you know, without getting into a long philosophical thing, in the way that this budget is developed too, the grants are within the budget itself. And, you know, we can speak about that for the next 24 hours, about the pros and cons. Some people think that is a good way to do it, others don't.
Yeah.
So, I know we're kind of trying to move on here, but part of that can be, Nate and I can spend some time with you and just explain the two schools of thought, right, Nate?
Yeah, absolutely.
The ones, you know, and I know that, you know, through the years, various community people, school board members that I've always worked with have had different feelings, sometimes strong, about the way that should be done.
Yeah, well, I don't expect you to do the whole 7 pages in one shot. If I can get one section at a time, and I wanna do is write it out for the committee, so maybe they get something input in it too as well.
Absolutely, thank you.
And would you just go over the focus of the grant committee itself, which, as I understand it, has been looking across the board at those third-party funds that can come in from the ferreting out of the district and making sure we're getting access to any funds out there that can help the district.
And also transparency, and I think he's a poster child for this, so that everybody's on board and understanding what the grants are, what they're used for, and in and around that, and from it can become a clearinghouse and a communications means so that the community can understand it and so forth, do the very thing that Bob was asking about. Because you know, there's a lot of transparency issues in terms of what they are, what their use is, who, you know, and so forth. You know, the school district has been very fortunate to receive them. The thing is, we want to make sure that they're being used on behalf of the students to improve student performance, and they're able to be sustained, and there's a sustainability there. So that's kind of I see the thing that, that's why we have a committee.
That in the 2 minutes that are left, anyone else from the school board wanted to speak on an issue that might not be coming up directly at the public hearing on the school warrants? If not, then we're in recess for probably a genuine minute and a half.
Do we have to go in recess and then reopen up as a public hearing?
Well,
Do we have to take a vote to go in recess?
I think my understanding was that the recess is at the call of the chair, but in fact, I don't even think we have to recess. We just, as the budget committee, we'll just keep going and hold a public hearing. If somebody wants to come back and slap my wrist, hey, so be it.
I
So.
do believe you have to close.
You would have to close, but I think we did that with the
Yes, well,
school
just
for
for
the
the,
town. We voted first and then.
To go in recess
yeah,
with this meeting?
I mean, yeah, but to approve the article.
We already did.
yeah. We're, oh
Okay.
Lord, did I just?
No.
No,
We'll go
we
with-
have already, we are already on record for our vote of recommendation or non-recommendation on the warrant articles, all the money articles. So that's not it. This is the public hearing for the public to offer their comments as the school warrants are presented.
All right,
So I don't think there is a necessity to go into recess. And so I will just, it being 6:30, we have successfully used our half hour from the Budget Committee starting at 6 p.m. If you're joining us now, the purpose of our meeting at 6 p.m. Was to go over Article number 2, which was still in process from the school board because of certain financial changes. So I will start from the top. That way everybody knows where we are. To the inhabitants of the school district in the town of Milton, New Hampshire, qualified to vote in district affairs. You are hereby notified of the following annual school district meeting schedule. First session of annual meeting, deliberative. You are hereby notified to meet at the Newt High School and Library Cafeteria in said district on Saturday, the 4th of February, 2017 at 1 p.m. with a snow date of Sunday, the 5th day of February, 2017 at 1 p.m. This session shall consist of explanation, discussion, and debate of warrant articles numbered 2 through 9. Warrant articles may be amended subject to the following limitations. A, warrant articles whose wording is prescribed by law shall not be amended. B, warrant articles that are amended shall be placed on the official ballot for a final vote on the main motion as amended. And C, no warrant article shall be amended to eliminate the subject matter of the article. If you are new to Milton and or New Hampshire, it used to be a wonderful ploy that at deliberative session you would amend the article to say, quote, to C. And the legislature, when I was there, did away with that. You can no longer play that kind of hardball against the interests of the voters. Okay. Second session of annual meeting, official ballot voting. You are hereby notified to meet at the Assembly of God Church, Milton, New Hampshire, on Tuesday, March 14th, 2017, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. 8 a.m., 7 p.m. to vote by official ballot on warrant articles numbered 1 through 9. Article 1, election of officers voting by official ballot March 14th, 2017. To choose the following school district officers: A, to choose a moderator for the ensuing year; B, to choose a clerk for the ensuing year; C, to choose a school board member for the ensuing 3 years; and D, to choose a treasurer for the ensuing year. And that brings us to the discussions to Article 2, where we began our meeting at 6 p.m. Article 2, shall the Milton School District vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Milton School Board and the Milton Education Association, which calls for the following increase in salaries and benefits at the current staffing levels over the amount paid in the prior fiscal year. And for the estimated increase, year 2017-2018, $66,184.94. Year 2018-2019, $91,064.87. And further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $66,184.94 for the 2017-2018 school year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits over those of the appropriation at current staffing levels paid in the prior fiscal year. The school board recommends this appropriation 5-0. The budget committee recommends this appropriation 7-0. Is there any discussion from the public regarding the details of our Article 2? Going once, twice, third. I will leave Article 2 open. Should anyone here have a comment or question by the time we get to the end of the hearing. Article 3. Technically, the public hearing is directly for the questions and responses or concerns from the public itself. As you know, I tend to want information over formality. If you feel that from 6 o'clock until now we had sufficient discussion on Article 2, I will leave it there. If there's something that someone from the school board wants to bring up further for the information of the public, that's fine with me. If anyone on the committee wants to make a point about Article 2, that's fine with me. Article 3. Shall the Milton School District, if Article 2 is defeated, authorize the school, oh, that's not a money article, okay.
No, it's a public hearing for all the warrant articles, so still should be read.
that-
correct?
I would read it.
Yeah, well,
Read it.
okay. Too used to our own agenda. Article 3, shall the Milton School District, if Article 2 is defeated, authorize the school board to call one special meeting, and I believe that there's a typo here. Should line 2 be at its option?
Yes.
So, at its option to address Article 2 costs only. Majority vote required. Article 3 refers back to Article 2. The school board recommends this article 4-0. I'm sorry, I was thinking just in terms of our own budget committee. So, Article 4. Shall the Milton School District vote to raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amounts set forth on the budget posted with the warrant, or as amended by vote of the first session, that will be the deliberative session, for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $10,397,573.15. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $10,565,878.96, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Milton School District or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13 Roman 10 and Roman 16 to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. Is there anyone from the public audience who would like to speak?
You should finish more.
Oh,
Yeah.
focus. Note, thank you, Stan. Note, warrant Article 4, parenthesis, operating budget, does not include appropriations in any other warrant article. The total operating budget will be offset by federal grant revenues of $481,410, leaving a net budget amount of $9,916,163.15. And then it repeats RSA 32:5 Roman 3. The amount of $481,410 will not be raised by taxation, and this article does not include appropriations in any other warrant articles. The school board recommended this appropriation 4-0, and the budget committee recommended the appropriation 6-0. So I did get to the bottom of Article 4. Same question.
Larry, the only thing I want to make clear on some of these that we're going to be seeing 4-0, we had a board member that was sick that night when we voted on it.
Mhm.
So that's why there's
Okay.
people think.
That, yes, then I would, 5-member school board, we are, when the budget committee is at full complement, we have nine members. As I mentioned earlier, Mike Bolio, the selectman's rep, has other commitments, and Caitlin McGargy has no longer on the board. Elections will be coming up. You can check with the town clerk at the end of January if you wish to join either the committee or the board. That said, back to the question on Article 4. Any question, comment, or observation from the public on Article 4?
Bless you.
Superintendent endorses Article 4. Doug?
Now, let the people know this is an increase over last year's budget of $154,014.81. Am I right, Nate?
Yes.
What percentage is that?
Oh, give me 1 second.
Oh,
Less than 3/4 of 1%?
I think it's 1.1%. I had it written down.
10 million would be 1.5.
I think it should be, for the record, the reasoning, the RSA was stated in there. The reasoning for the RSA being stated was the fact that the budget now is to include grant money. Where
Post
in the-
budgeting, I'm sorry.
So in the past, though, it was not done that way, and that's why it's showing in RSA, because that's the RSA stating that.
Yep. 1.5%.
Great. Quick math works. That what the mic may or may not have picked up was Stan's reminder that there has been a long suffering or long simmering or long standing discussion, RSA school districts, budget committees, on how to calculate grant money going back against the operating budget. And it is my understanding, and Nate, you may be on top of it more, that which number form is it that's sent in? Is it the 37 or one of the other numbers that DRA then does its own offset calculation for what rate should be?
The 25? MS 25?
You tell me.
Yeah.
And would you speak to that more clearly than I can?
Well, the MS 25 is basically everything, every expense, revenue that goes through the school is compiled in that one document, huge Excel file, and that helps set the tax rate.
Okay. So anyway, there you have Stan's comment for why the RSA is there, and Nate's comment for how DRA works the numbers, compensating and calculating what the rate should be. Okay.
As we have this discussion, is default, to take a look at the default and look at the comparison
Yes, sir.
between the operating budget and the default would be an important discussion.
Right. Superintendent Sussman, who may be partially in camera, would you speak to that, sir? Or
Would you give the two figures? The default budget is overtly above what the operating one is. And the difference in that, Nate has calculated what the tax increase, what the impact would be. We spoke about that during the week, and I had asked him to come up with what each one would be, what the impact to the taxpayer would be with each one.
With the default budget compared to this fiscal year is over 3.1% over the current year. And the estimated tax increase on top of the 54 cents on the tax impact sheet we have is an additional 47 cents per thousand.
okay, Stan.
Mr. Chairman, for simple math, I just calculated it out here. The default budget is $168,305.81 above the proposed budget.
300.
So thus, we all know it's important that people, that the taxpayers that are home or whatever, as we spoke about early on, that they're fully aware that in actuality, the operating budget is less than what the default is. Because sometimes people everywhere just go in, and if they're not wanting to vote for a school budget, just go right to the default. So I think, you know, any of your recommendations, you folks have been excellent at pointing things out, that, you know, in terms of making people aware of that.
So, yes, Dan?
I think that goes back to the point I made at the last meeting, that you should piggyback with the town, the little flyer they send out explaining what everything represents. That's your one time to really put your 2 cents into what it means. Because on the ballot, you're limited by law to what you can have on there for language.
Yep.
But that flyer that's sent out, you can give a full description of what it represents.
We actually voted as a board to do that this year, so that is going out this year. That
So
little
just to be clear,
informational flyer.
Then it was, as was said partially, that, in our earlier discussion on Article 2, Peg Heard, school board to my left, was discussing and Stan also, the seesaw nature, the back and forth give and take of the school teacher's contract, which I think has an impact, together with the success in grants the district has obtained in getting the operating budget down below the default. So if you, bluntly, if you want to pay more, vote for the default budget, or take the difference. Okay. Then, that takes us to, we are to Article 5.
Do you have a question?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I was just curious.
Dennis.
Just to be clear, you mentioned the 47-cent increase. So the operating budget would be 54 cents per thousand, but with the default, it'd be 54 plus
Yes.
47.
Yep.
So we're talking a buck one
Yep.
versus not 54 cents.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, vote against the budget and pay more. But
Say that a little louder, Larry.
I did not want to be editorializing, but I cannot resist a good punchline. Vote for the default budget and pay more. But Article 5, the chair apologizes. Article 5, shall the Milton School District vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 to purchase library media for the Newt High School and library. This is a special warrant article appropriation. The school board recommends this appropriation, and the budget 4-0. The budget committee recommends the appropriation 6-0. I thank Lou for reminding me that the full name is Newt High School and library.
That's the legal name of the school.
That is the legal name. So the library media is going to the library. The legal name is Newt High School and library. Is there anyone from the public who would like to ask a question, comment, or observation on Article 5? Article 6. Shall the Milton School District vote to raise and appropriate up to the sum of $50,000 to be placed in the Milton School District Building Maintenance, Repair, Renovation, and Capital Project Reserve Fund, established in 2005 for the purpose of repairing and maintaining school buildings, with such amount to be funded from the June 30th, 2017 unreserved fund balance surplus available on July 1st, 2017. The school board recommends the appropriation 4-0. The budget committee recommends the appropriation 6-0. After a chance for the public to offer comment, question, or observation, then who would like to speak to the possible estimated fund balance that might be on board in July 1st of 2017, or was that entirely too premature?
It is premature.
In that case,
Talk to Doug.
Doug,
Well, right now, presently, in the account, we haven't drawn anything out. We have several things that have got to come out. We have 99,301 and 75 cents.
That's in the
That,
trust fund.
that trust fund right now.
mhm,
When we get all done, we have several items that gotta be taken out of there. The repair to the oil sump and the renovation to the Damon House, because we're gonna put the SAU in there.
mhm.
And I'll let Nate or anybody else correct me on the other. But when we get done, all we're gonna have in that account is 42,761.75.
Would you say that again?
42, I'm sorry.
42, yeah.
42,761.75.
Mhm.
So we have several things to take out of there.
Okay. And if you have a paper copy, just keep in mind, we're coming down to Article 9, which also has several things to say about capital reserve and building maintenance. Then would the district wish to expand any more on the repairs and renovations and compliance work being done for the Damon House, for the,
We have a facility committee here, which is Paul,
Yeah.
and we got Bob. They could explain that better than me.
yeah.
They're my reps.
Do you feel that fits under the discussion for Article 6?
If you're looking for some of the things we're expending the money on.
Yeah, I think, that I know you said it last night, but again, not everybody watches, and
Yeah.
more information always helps.
Two of the major things that we got the oil sump and new parking lot that's starting to break down. The cover on the top's rusted through, so we need to replace that whole oil sump system. The board, with bids and everything, we came in, we had to vote up to $23,000 for that, between replacing everything, temporary oil services while we disconnect from the main oil. We have to get temporary tanks brought in so we can run the furnaces while we do the work. Any mitigation of contaminated soils that we may come across. So that was what that money is. And we also voted to spend out of that fund up $46,000 towards the Damon House renovation, including all the electrical, security, fire alarm, access systems, building interior walls, painting, that stuff to get everything underway. That's our phase 1 of that project to get it started. So that's where the two major expenditures were for this.
But these expenditures have already been reduced from the amount that Doug gave us, correct?
I just gave you,
Right, so those are already spoken for in the 46,000. None of this, what you just mentioned, is gonna be coming out of the 46. It's gonna be coming out of the 99.
99, correct.
but it's
Right.
dropping that number down.
So I think
forward.
Larry's question was, anything you see happening above any of that for this coming year?
That's why we need the $50,000.
We can't tell. I
Yeah,
mean,
that,
Well,
yeah,
it's for
sometimes you
things
know.
come up, broken boilers, things like
Yeah.
that. So
yeah. Bob Adams, anything you wanted to add to
I
that?
was just gonna say to, just to qualify, the money for the Damon House was the phase 1 piece that was just detailed. Phase 2 ends up being the phone system, putting down flooring, so there's other items that we need to do too, so there's other expenditures
those will be.
that we have not quantified yet, that would come out of that.
That would still be out of that
Correct.
99, dropping it down below the
No,
Correct.
yeah.
And,
That's fine.
and
That's
then
above the 46, the original.
Right.
That's coming out of the
So out of
42.
what's
Yes.
remaining,
Yeah.
right?
Okay,
Right.
that,
And then we have phase 2 of the Milton Elementary School roof that is scheduled for next summer.
Is that in the CIP
Whoops.
plan?
Yes,
Okay, so that wouldn't come out of that fund, when it was in the CIP, because it gets funded differently, correct?
no,
No.
it would be under, it's an option, because it would fall under regular repair, the capital reserve.
okay.
Can I just say something about the
Yes,
CIP?
Doug, shoot.
For the school, they left one figure out of there, and that was the cost to do the addition at the high school. That's not showing in there. And that's about, we paid for that in the operating budget. That's about $271,000 in your operating budget. But also, this coming year will be your last year on your module at the MES, which is about $35,000. And that's not in the CIP program, on that list. But that's in your operating budget also.
Right, so the operating budget will be lower next year due to that, well,
Less
But-
expense.
The
it will help
35,000.
reduce, let's change the language. It
You-
will help
yes.
reduce
Yes.
any potential increases.
Then 2020, I'm thinking right, is when the addition at the high school will be the last payment.
So Stan has already begun for next year.
Mhm.
Getting a head start.
You're up for
When
that
you-
too.
Bob Carrier.
This fund was at 25,000 per year. I see it, you raised it to 50,000. That's to replenish that renovation? Wasn't there a, great, go ahead.
Last year, they lowered it. Every other year, it has been 50,000 out of the surplus. They must have felt last year that 25 was enough. But with all these unexpected expenses that the facilities committee sees, Bob, we felt that 50,000 is more appropriate because you can always not put any in another year. But if a boiler goes, it could be 30,000 plus for a new boiler. Like MES, we put in one new boiler, but there's still another boiler there, right, Bob,
Yeah.
that could go. And there's other equipment in there that could go that's getting kind of old. So, you know, we'd rather have the little cushy, so it's not to surprise us or the people. This is at a surplus, so if there wasn't 50,000 in the surplus, you wouldn't get the whole 50 going into that fund. Okay, it
Okay.
depends on what it is, but why they lowered it last year, I have no idea. But we all felt, the whole board felt that the 50 was more reasonable to sustain that, because that has done some good work in those schools. Soil contamination, we found the oil,
Oil
Tank.
tank.
the oil tank, thank you, this year, and that was taken right out of it at no impact to the taxpayer. So it's handled very carefully. It is not done extravagantly, you know, we go by the bids and what the state requires, like the state is involved in that, which has pressured us to do it. You know, we're waiting for them now, to okay all the engineer plans. So this is unexpected stuff. And like, if there is a roof that needs to be done and we got money, why ask the taxpayer if you can get it out of a fund like that? That's the use of it, maintenance and repair. And that's our vision of it. Okay?
I agree.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just for clarity, it is a tax impact because it's pre-tax.
well, it doesn't go back to the taxpayer to offset taxes.
Right, so it has been pre-tax, it's already taxed.
Right, but it's not new money that they have to raise and appropriate.
Well, it's like having spaghetti and meatballs. It's a lot easier if you still have some spaghetti left from last night's dinner. On Article 6, where it says renovation, one of the important things is that this is the first operating budget, you can correct what year I'm working in, where the district is assuming the entire costs of operating its district administrative structure and housing. And so the renovations which are being done in-house, literally in-house, for the Damon House, are, if I remember correctly, going to bring the district a lower cost than the continued percentage of our obligation to the X-17 Commerce Center. Define that. Paul is nodding his head.
Right, we'll no longer be paying rent to Frizzell.
Mhm.
So, because we have the Damon House free and clear, so we'll no longer have to pay a fee to lease that building anymore.
Okay. Then, the school board had recommended the appropriation, the budget committee had recommended the appropriation. Public, on to Article number 7. Shall the Milton School District vote to raise and appropriate up to the sum of $25,000 to be placed in the Milton School District Technology Expendable Trust Fund established in 2007, with such amount to be funded from the June 30th, 2017 unreserved fund balance surplus available on July 1st, 2017. School Board recommends 4-0. Budget Committee recommends 6-0. The Article 7 is open for discussion, question, comment from the public. Comment from the school district itself, how those funds will be assigned. Lou?
Hi. This was my baby last year. Last year, there was a warrant article for computers, and it was really a bad, in my estimation, I'll put it that way, in my estimation and in many others, it was a bad thing for the Milton School District and the taxpayers. So we have been working extremely hard on finding a better way to redo the computers. Well, we've gotten some grants, and this is going to take care of some of it, not all of it, but quite a bit of it. And we need a sustainable way to keep that up, add some new ones. Like, we got a grant, and MES has this computer lab for the kids in there, which is very old and needs new computers. The other computers will be moved to other areas that are not as technical as the lab. And anyway, there's $10,000 in a grant, but we need 8 to complete that room, or somewhere near that. So looking at all our things, we came up with adding $25,000 a year out of the surplus, which will not go back to offset taxes. You and Doug. But it is a lot cheaper for the taxpayers. This is sustainable. This can also buy printers or ink and some programs, I think, also. We really looked into this with the grant person, with a person that would know what we can do and what we can't. This is a more economic way for the school to keep up with, not every year you're going to need all these computers, but if one breaks, you can go to the fund or have a hearing and say, we need 2 computers and a printer. And it's not going to break the taxpayers back like $173,000 for 3 years. This way we own everything, and it's not leased. We can move it around the school if it gets older to a less technical area. And to me, I talked to other townspeople, and they were extremely happy with this idea. As we were working along, we talked to citizens that had nothing to do with the school, and they really liked the idea of this versus the other, and we own these. So that is the solution that we came up with, and we really feel this is a workable idea for Milton.
Is there anyone who does not have an idea of what Mrs. Snyder wants you to do? On a slightly different note, you mentioned the $10,000 in grants, which again should go back to complement the work of the district and the grant committee, because if you add the 10 and the 8 that will be drawn out of it, with 25 in there, you'd only have 7 left. So the math works out very nicely. Is there anyone who wanted to offer any other comment on Article 7? Okay, moving on to Article 8. Shall the Milton School District vote to raise and appropriate up to the sum of $25,000 to purchase new equipment for the Milton administrative offices, with the sum to come from Milton's share of the unencumbered fund balance, the surplus, available after the separation of Wakefield from SAU 64, which will be effective June 30th, 2017. This is a special warrant article. The article will not result in additional taxation. Majority vote will be required. The school board recommends the appropriation 4-0. The budget committee recommends the appropriation 6-0. And the article is out for discussion, comment, question, or review from the public.
Well, we find that we are gonna need some new equipment, and one of those new equipment is a new copier. We're also gonna need some new computers. And what else do we need?
There's a couple of computer screens.
Computer screens. And this,
By computer screen, you mean monitor, or
Yes.
do you mean more
Monitors.
like the size of that, or the size of the desk unit?
Desk unit.
Desk unit. A stand.
Tough question. Any estimation what that balance is gonna be?
Okay, we were even discussing it as of this day, and I think that, as you know, you've heard this so many times, you know, we get 43% of it, and we do get 57. You've heard that so many times. So, with that being said, we're cautiously optimistic. Nate and I were talking that we're looking around 80,000, would you say? Nate?
Purely estimation.
Purely estimation, because don't forget, you know, we have 5 months left, it's an SAU, you've got 2 different entities.
So the 80,000 represents the 43%?
Yes.
Our share, yeah.
That we're hopeful of that, you know,
Okay,
let's
well,
say 60 to 80, but whatever it, we're cautiously optimistic that even taking out the 25, there'll be 40 to 50,000 left.
And what, after you purchase the pieces that you think are gonna be required, what's gonna happen with that balance? Or do you feel you're gonna spend the total 70,000 or whatever?
No, that goes back to the taxpayer.
That's what I want on
The
record.
balance does
yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
also too, in that, we, you know, there's other unknowns. For example, tomorrow at 10:30, we have the asset committee, and it's made up of the administration, obviously, and 2 members of the Wakefield School Board. It has been Lou Snyder and Peg Hurd from our school district here. And it's a very concise, I don't know if it's a booklet having everything, every screw and every nut, and
asset.
every piece of wood that Nate had gone out to a firm.
Yep.
And the fellow came around and did a really nice job. So basically, it's kind of like an inheritance when people go around and say, I'd like that desk, or I'd like that chair, or
It has a
trying to
stated value
figure
on it.
out
Yep.
with a school cart. The reality of it, you know, on the face of it, it looks like things are worth more than they really are. But you go to tag sales and flea markets and auctions, you know that old desks and chairs and that. So in looking at the fund balance that the SAU is going to have, obviously the assets will come in there, and so we're cautiously optimistic that in the event that there are unanticipated expenditures over the next 5 months, that a little bit coming from, on both sides, coming from the assets, that you know, it'll be a few bucks, and again, it'll be returned to the taxpayer, that if, in the event that the warrant article passes, anything above $25,000.
Yes. Okay. Lou, other point?
I'd just like to say, this is the last time that there'll be a fund balance connected with the SAU, because now the SAU is totally in the Milton budget. And that can also be seen as not a real increase, but that money for the new year, the SAU is in the budget, where last year in this year that we're in, it's a separate entity. Okay? So that's another thing for everybody to consider when you see the increase, because that was never in the budget before, and now it will be.
Yep. Okay.
Larry,
Yes, Doug?
the other thing I want to do now to keep costs down also in that renovation, the members of your school board, they're not professionals. They've offered to do painting. Oh, you're a professional? Oh, I didn't know that, I'm sorry. They've got one professional painter that's gonna pay. The rest are amateurs.
And the Friends of New are gonna help also.
Lovely. Yeah, if you've ever moved furniture with a moving van, you can have the Crown of England, and the movers will list it as having chips, dents, and nicks. So the prices go down. That Article 9. Shall the Milton School District vote to change the name and purpose of the expendable trust fund, currently named Milton School District Building Maintenance, Repair, Renovation, and Capital Project Reserve Fund, to the Milton School District Building Maintenance, Repair, and Renovation Trust Fund, for the purpose of removing capital project from the title and from the purpose of the fund. A 2/3 vote is required. The school board recommends the article. No action at the budget committee is required. That brings us back to the beginning of the public hearing, which is again a request from anyone in the public audience if they wanted to offer a question, comment, observation, compliment or complaint for the school budget. Again, a reminder that the deliberative session is coming up on the 4th day of February. People may sign up to become members of the budget committee or the school board at the end of January through Michelle Beauchamp, the clerk. The second session will be March 14th. That ends all the work that I can think of for the public hearing and a budget committee meeting for this evening. Is there any comment or observation that I missed? Maureen? Tom?
Next meeting.
Next?
Before you do that, don't we have to vote to send it to the deliberative session as written? We did that.
Individually vote
We
to
did
accept
that.
it, but if you want to have overall vote.
This is what we did, I
That's-
believe, last year, that there were no changes made. We decided that we were gonna vote, send
Just to
the-
cover ourselves.
Yeah, that the warrant articles are gonna go as written 'Cause then we,
There's
honestly, it
one-
sounds like you're making a
It's
motion.
one that little
Yeah,
app.
with that
Right.
little thing, correction
correction.
we had.
Yes.
So it sounds like you're making a motion.
Okay, yeah, you were the chair. I didn't do that. You were the chair then, at that time.
Yeah, I
Um,
was told to do that, because
Okay.
we didn't make no
Then,
changes.
if you would make that motion to include that the district provide the typographical change of line 2 in Article 3 at its option, then is there a second to? Second from Stan Nato, which is
Brenda, did you get that
to-
motion?
and you will check any particular wording that is necessary, which will be added to your motion for Brenda's convenience, to move to send the warrant to the first session of the annual meeting, the deliberative session,
Yeah, well, what it is, yeah, to send the warrant articles as written
as written.
to the deliberative session on February 4th with the corrections that would be needed.
Good.
I think I got it right this time,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
That sounds good. Seconded by Stan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Doug?
I'd like to thank the budget committee. And I really think this is a good budget, and it's a good contract for the people of Milton, the teacher's contract. Fully behind it.
Any other comment from the school board?
I'd like to thank all the members of the committee for their hard work and their input. It's helped us a great deal. We've gone back and we've tried to get a consensus and a collaboration. Your work has been very, very good. Thank you.
Next year, we'll be better prepared for you, Stan, if you're on the board. Caught us off guard. You'll not do it next year.
You said that last year.
Do I hear a motion for Mr. Nato?
No, next meeting.
You want to do next meeting?
The next meeting that I understand is the 17th.
No, we're supposed to
Yeah, I
see
got a
the
couple
town
questions
warrant,
after
right?
Well,
Yeah, well, that's already been done.
It's been scheduled, you
we
mean?
were supposed to come in at 5:30 to go over the warrants and then have our public hearing at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so but I'm sorry, I did not know what, I thought you were talking about a regular meeting.
That is our regular meeting
For,
actually,
Is that next Thursday?
next Tuesday.
next Tuesday. For information, the regular meeting of the Budget Committee has been set for next Tuesday, which will be the 17th. It includes the public hearing for the town warrants, same format as the school budget. And we will again be meeting at 5:30 because the selectmen have been facing certain pressures of major line items not being filled and not having the resource of the town administrator to work on the budget. So we will be using that half hour to review the warrants, which require a vote from the budget committee.
You think
Only a
an
half
is gonna
hour?
be enough? We ate up a half an hour tonight, we're just basically 1.5. you know?
True.
How many warrant articles are they, do you know?
Very, very simple.
In the executive power of the chair,
We get to 6 o'clock, I will call the public meeting to order, recess the public meeting, and go back and whack away at the warrants. We have had considerable discussion back and forth with the town, particularly the detailed line-by-line review that was done with Bob in the chair. So it should be easy to do. I will talk less, not to use up the half hour. And
I don't believe it.
that
He's lying
I-
again. All right, then, with that said, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
with that said, we need a second.
Second.
Second by Lou. Adjourned by all. Thank you for your time.
All those in favor?
Work.
Aye.
Aye. Stand up and leave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, John. Thank you, Bob.
Another step behind us.
Was it good night, Bob? Good night. John.